Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EU League. Our final game of the day is about to begin. And, well, it's 2K Massive all over. Heroic versus MNM. Talk about MNM newcomers into the league. They've gone through the whole gauntlet from UKIN in their national tournament that now does not exist. Now, the Nordics.
Still exists.
Kinda.
It's just got a tournament above it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now you're running, they went from UKIN to Challenger League to EU League and then just casually strolled over to Six Invitational where they moved on past the group stage. Not too bad for MNM in this case.
Yeah, and I think they're a very exciting team to watch. I know a lot of our viewers might not have seen MNM before, obviously having been new to the league, but if you're wondering what their kind of play style is, I would say they've got 4 exceptionally gifted frag-oriented players, and then one very well-regarded support player in Nello that's behind the scenes. And I almost speak about him, and I've said this before, is that he's the puppet master. He's the one controlling his 4 fraggers. And they play a very exciting brand of Siege to watch. It's very well considered. Any of the players, you know, Neonical, Tyrant, Solotov, users, all of them can just step up and have big number games.
I find it interesting with their playstyle. You say that he's the puppet master, but I feel like they have 2 players that are kind of free-floating and just appearing everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me?
You said
like
interesting,
that?
and I'm always drawn.
You
Yeah.
did say interesting, yes.
You know, there's a problem only speaking 2 languages, and one of them is my secondary, and interesting is my go-to word, I guess.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's quite intriguing the way that you mention it this way. I find it quite baffling when we start talking
Stop using these hardcore weird words.
You know,
Go
Nello.
back to MNM.
Hang on, we
Here
did
you
get
go.
a list for you, Fabi.
Yeah, I know. We
have a list of words. You have I love Des on your screen. Though.
Yeah, that's my analysis for this game.
Look, we've got absorbing, engrossing, fascinating,
Fascinating.
riveting, gripping,
Gripping. It's
compelling.
Yeah, it's very compelling.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
If you're going in the even
Yeah,
higher
you know,
level.
I find all of those words quite interesting.
Speaking of mind blowing, Heroic Uno is now on the team, and he is mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited for what he can do with this group of players. We're looking at them having some very talented fraggers. Slot was struggling a bit last season, but then they picked up Benya as well. What I'm looking for here is just having a player like Uno, especially in defense, that can pull these players around and make a lot of team play happen. That's Uno's strength. He's a good individual player, but he's also extremely talented at having a little dog in a leash that he pulls around with him. And that's what I'm expecting to see in defenses. And I think that they have a really good caller in Gorgona as well. So I'm excited for the team. I hope they do good today, because I'm the only one who predicted them.
I just want to set the scene on this kind of rivalry as well, because this goes all the way back to Challenger League 2020, when Heroic, who were then Kavana, beat out MNM in the promotion match to get into EUL 2021. They've had rivalries through UKIN itself as well, where it's tended to be the MNM roster that have come out on top in the Tier 3 kind of level. And then even just coming to 6 Invitational qualifiers, it was MNM who won that in quite a convincing fashion.
Hell of a game.
So as a UK rivalry, they've got a bit on the line. They know each other very well, these 2 teams.
So do you think that despite the changes, this is going to be a game that both of these will be quite kind of used to in the past, Fresh?
I think the Uno change makes a big difference, because you're changing, you know, your hard support RGL. Probably, they've talked about Uno being the captain of this roster as well. So the Heroic roster is probably changing more to how Uno sees Siege rather than how Anarchic sees Siege. I know Anarchic was still on board as strategic coach, but Heroic therefore have changed their dynamic a little bit. So I think the dynamic of the relationship between the 2 teams changes, but I still think they'll know each other pretty well. The tendencies, where the drones go, where players enter from, they'll still know that.
Our map band. So what do they look like? 9 map pool now, and we're left with only 1 at the end. Heroic, they're going to have the last choice. Oregon is out, Clubhouse is in. And because of that, it's MNM that picked the starting side. They'll be on the attack. So that's their pick. Clubhouse starting on attack for MNM.
I think it's quite a smart choice. Attackers usually tend to have the ban advantage when it comes to operator bans. And on a map like Clubhouse, where obviously the bans do matter in quite a lot, it depends on, do you ban the Maverick and the Thatcher, or do you skip only one, or do you ban something else that just fills up the same role? So I think it's a smart choice from MNM. But we'll see how it goes.
MNM are a team that like leaving some of these quote-unquote crutch operators open as well. They back themselves to, play with them open, play with them closed. So I wouldn't be surprised if MNM actually banned something a little bit out there, a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see Heroic in action. I think that they've upgraded with Uno in both fragging power, maybe not so much in the mental part, because I think Anarchic is a very intelligent player, but I think for sure that they've upgraded in firepower, and I hope that their team play has gotten better from it.
All right, very excited then to see what happens between these two. It's new changes, but an old player coming in. It's kind of Nello and Uno when they were playing against one another in the olden days, and now they're leading their own squads of technically rookies that go up against one another. A big fight here in EUL, a big fight for all the UK fans out there. Let's see how it goes. Fabian Fresh, thank you very much. MNM versus Heroic to close out our day. We got Ace and Des to take us through it. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milos. Last game of the day coming up, and a replay as well from the 6 Invitational qualifiers. The first time this roster of Heroic, they were Kavana at the time, played against MNM. They beat them 2-0. They met again in the grand final, where MNM won 3-2. And yesterday we had Gorgona on Twitter saying, looking forward to that rematch. It's going to be vengeance time. You took SI away from us. We're going to take that win away from you in EUL. We'll find out how it goes here on Clubhouse, Tim. What a map to end the first day on.
It's a tasty prospect to finish things off with, Des. You've got 2 rosters that, not necessarily in their absolute present form. Obviously, Uno coming into the heroic side of things and a couple of changes over there. But ultimately, 2 rosters very familiar with each other, played each other a lot.
Yep.
One with more experience inside of EUL than the other, granted, but this one is going to be spicy. There's no two ways about it. Thatcher, about as sort of vanilla as the bands get so far. Nice and straightforward to begin with.
On this map, it's pretty much always a Maverick Thatcher band pair coming through. I'm keen to see if that's going to be the similar story, or if MNM do step away from air quotes the norm and do something spicy. There's your spicy answer, a Capital. A couple of teams in EUL do make use of it, especially when trying to push inside a catwalk in Garage. So maybe it's more targeted towards that, just nipping that one away. And Kai going to be the second ban.
It's going to just remove the defence of those hatches, particularly for the basement attacks. We will see our final defender. It'll be Valkyrie or Mirror, I would imagine. And there it is. It's Valkyrie. It's as if we've been through these bans before, Des.
This map is pretty predictable overall. I mean, outside of those 4, of those 4, only one you look at and go, oh, it's a little bit out there. Capital, seen it banned away against G2 a bit last year because they were a team that would like to use it, with Hungary often picking up that operator for them. However, here today, it's not going to be available for either side. As mentioned, MNM are the ones starting out on the attack and starting things off with, at least before we get some repick coming in potentially, 3 Heart Breaches.
We're going to be heading down to Church to begin with. Down in the basement, 2 different defences. We'll see which one we're going to have from Heroic. You either got the turtle option, where all 5 or at least 4 of the defenders will remain on site, or alternatively, we're going to see a bunch of them off running wild around the map. The reinforcements up on the top floor would suggest it's going to be the latter, and we are going to have some attention paid up on that top floor from Heroic. They'll play the lives for as long as they can. Gorgona on the Vigil just suggests that even more. He's going to have the support from Benja on the mute up there. Just try and create a bit of a blackout on that top floor, prevent the drones getting in there. If they do, obviously Gorgona with his ability can keep himself off them. The cloaking device will remove his visual signature, at least, from the drones. They'll get a little sort of signal disruption marker indicator that will tell them that he's nearby, but they won't know exactly where. And the attackers, MNM, they're going to have to go in and face check a lot of this top floor, and that could be very dangerous.
I'll always normally come back to back MNM. I think in the opening 60s to 75 seconds of a round, they're pretty good, pretty pacey. Teams very rarely actually able to slow them down. It's normally in the mid-round where I felt they've struggled at points where you can watch some rounds and they just kind of feel like they do nothing for the next 60 to 75 seconds or so. So for me, that's the big focus for this first half. How fast can MNM move? Clubhouse is known as a checklist map. There are a number of things that you have to get through before you can even think about the execute, and Heroic are doing their very best to extend that checklist as far as they can by having 2 or 3 members up on the top floor. It's Gorgona to draw first blood.
Great start there for Heroic. The Vigil just really putting in the work. The thing with the Vigil is obviously his utility is all focused around himself. Used to be part of bringing the reinforcements, but since we've moved into a reinforcement pool where all 10 are available to any member of the team, it means that Vigil doesn't even really bring bring along a specific contribution in terms of reinforcements either. So outside of those impact nades to maybe make a rotation here or there, he's quite a, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but quite a selfish operator. He's all about what he can do. So the Vigil player really has to do two things for the defense to make it worthwhile, and that is waste time and, if they can, find kills. And in doing that, in getting that entry, Gorgona has already made it worthwhile bringing that Vigil.
It's normally Benja that are playing that operator as well, playing a bit more passively and defensively here on the mute with that C4 in back pocket. Will no doubt be playing below, looking for a C4 kill. I think right now he's stashed away inside a kitchen up towards the top side of your screen. A good start overall for Heroic though, and MNM. This again is where I mentioned then get a little bit stuck at points. They've lost that opening man and now things have really slowed down. Just about getting the control they're looking for, can get control of the hatches as we head into that final 60 seconds.
That's it, they do still have time. You can usually burn down to about 15 or 20 seconds on a basement attack and still be okay for getting yourself in and getting an execute. We do see those late round bloodbaths quite often. Uno taking some damage there inside of dirt, and the pressure's starting to mount here. We've got the mirror window cleared out. Sloth is going to push himself forward into blue, but the rotation set up so he can get himself back into the church side of things as well. He's just going to try to make it difficult for MNM to get themselves established on that side. Nello gets aggressive here on the thermite, just drops the mortar hatch, looks to follow it down and keep an angle into church. Neo finding Uno, and that's dirt tunnel cleared out, and the pressure's starting to mount here on Heroic as MNM get themselves established, but Gorgona standing up well. Second kill of the game for him. They've not done anything about the shield, and that could prove to be a big problem. Users, he manages to get one onto Gorgona. 3 versus 3 now. Pressure mounting from multiple sides here as the diffuser's going down, but Nello has to dip off. Grizzly, Benja do it all as they find the final kills, and Heroic, with a successful defense of the basement, will lock out the first round.
A lot of drops coming there through the hatch at the last second, coming in through Moto, coming in through blue. Users finding 2 kills inside the blue as well. Was down to a slither of HP, it seemed there at the very end, unless there was a visual bug on screen, which I didn't quite clock. But a couple of kills found from that spot, just sadly leaving it a little bit too late. And these are some of the issues that we saw from MNM at SI as well. Looking back to some of the games that they won, some that they lost, was their attack sometimes did sort of peter out down to the dying few seconds towards the close of a round. And for me, the difference is going to be in that mid-round again, about how effective they can be at getting the control they need, how fast they can force those roamers back and go forwards from there. Fortunately for them, this site brings at least a little bit less roaming into the game. And going into gym and bedroom, the only roamers you've really got to worry about are the ones holding an extended hold out towards the east in Cash and CC. That's exactly where Heroic have headed out to. You've got Benja playing on that bandit. Might well electrify these walls to try and burn a bit of time.
That's it. It's definitely going to be a competitive area, is the east side of the map this round. We will see MNM no doubt get through that breach wall quite quickly, I would expect. Even without the Thatcher on the board, it shouldn't be too much of a difficulty to clear those bandit batteries off and get things moving. As you say, Des, that's the area that they're usually good at, is stage 1. Getting in there, clearing roamers, clearing areas, gaining map control. Solitov just looking to pressure onto main window, maybe move himself in through dirt tunnel here, which is going to be fascinating. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to aim for, but potentially...
Oh.
Tyrant nearly losing his head there as the peak comes in from Jim, just trying to push through strip and into bathroom. It's going to be Users from out of nowhere that manages to find that opening kill off the rooftop. Going to take down Sloth.
Good start as well. It's kind of one of the ones you want to remove away here. Sloth can just be a nightmare, very aggressive roamer, lights getting out in the map and causing trouble, so the sooner you can shut him down, the better. And sure enough, down in the basement, there's been a little bit of hunting going on for MNM. Drone work coming out, they find a couple of kills. Grizzly the next to fall down on his journey through the basement. 5 versus 3 for MNM, and all that inside the first 60 seconds.
That's great from Solitov. As I said, moving in through dirt, wasn't 100% sure exactly where he was heading for, but obviously had some information on the location of one of those roamers. Gorgona just spraying through to bar there, but I'm pretty sure that there were some solid walls in between him and the silhouette that we could see ahead of him. Now that's an interesting angle that he can get down into the stage area. I don't think he'll have too much joy with it unless Solitov gets a little bit over-eager and exposes himself to that angle, which, as I say that, he's giving him the opportunity. Gorgona has a little look, but Solitov doesn't know how lucky he is as he dips himself away, looks for the vertical nade instead, and turns his attention towards the main stairs.
There he comes back as well. Solitov taking...
No!
The reverse angle onto Gorg. You thought it'd have him there, but no, the one shot from Solotov is enough to get MNM round 2 in fashion as well, Tim. A flawless round coming out.
Well, that's message received and message returned, isn't it? The first round doesn't go their way, so they come back with a strong showing and a flawless in response. Honestly, I knew from the second I saw this matchup on the cards for today that it was going to be a big one, that we were going to have some fireworks here, and those first 2 rounds do nothing to change my mind that that's going to be the case.
Absolutely not. Yeah, MNM coming back in fashion in round 2. I mean, admittedly, catching out 2 of the roamers early on is always going to sting a little bit, and for Heroic, that's where you've got to be conscious of a team that will cut you down if you run into these kind of angles they're holding, if they're prepped for you, if you're droned out, if you're isolated at the other end of the map from where the site is, they will close down on you like that. So a good round for MNM after a good round for Heroic. Their own game in round 1 was much stronger, much more effective. We'll see how things play out in round 3. Now that we go to what must be one of the most well-known sites in the game, it's going to be Cash and CCTV.
We've got the mirror being brought along from Sloth. It's been common so far. We've seen it in both rounds, but I'm always fascinated to watch it on this site because we get teams that will play the East Wall mirror. Some teams won't play the East Wall mirror, but it's always an interesting one because you can use it in a number of ways. You can really deny the hard breach with it. Obviously it'll get punched out, but then it'll get shot out by the defenders, and it gives this little peek hole through onto the outside. You can then use that to throw utility out of. Somebody like Grizzly with the impact nades could clear off any charges that get placed on the wall, and it gives this sort of interesting back and forth of strategy, trying to get the wall open, keep it closed. It's always an interesting one.
What I like about this round is that we're seeing a nut coming in. Now, we spoke about Blur on Na'Vi, who enjoys playing the operator. Tarek bringing it along here, and no doubt looking to cause some mischief. Nuck basically silent, of course, unable to be seen by cameras as long as you're not full sprinting. If you are, you get a lovely little kind of blurry outline as to where she is. But Tarek can do a lot of damage because he's got the nades in back pocket. He can find his way just crouch walking up a stairway somewhere, and they'll have no idea he's coming unless they swing for it or just have a bit of intuition.
There we go. We're just seeing that in action, what I was talking about earlier. So the explosives come out to clear off at least the first Selma. And as I say, it just becomes this game of cat and mouse trying to get that breach open. And it's over a minute has been wasted before they managed to achieve that. But it has been successfully done. So the next thing that MNM are likely to want is garage control. We know how important that catwalk is, and it can hold down positions both inside of CCTV and also Cash. So they're opening up the walls underneath. That's going to make it a little bit hairier for Grizzly to try and keep himself in position here, because before long, Neo's going to be moving in with those nades, and they're going to be flying from underneath.
Benja! That must have been one hell of a flick, because he was looking through the single door to his left, but Tyrant comes into his line of sight. Bam! Down he goes. The Nook no longer able to present that sting in the tail that MNM were looking for. With all this said, by the way, Gorgona's still got control of Lounge on the downstairs. He's been sat at the top of blue stairs forever here. So no underneath control for MNM, no way of nading out from below. So they're kind of left here trying to fight for a little bit of basic ground. We're down to that 60 seconds. They've only just started looking inside a garage, and Grizzly finds a wonderful shot onto Yuzu's. Man not cleared out, and they've only got this 1 point of ingress they're working on.
Great timing there from Grizzly to take the peak, just catching the utility being used, and it just gave him a little bit of a freebie there down onto Users, leaving us now 5 versus 3, 4 versus 3 as Nello manages to find a slim angle onto Grizzly of Heroic. Now, the interesting thing for us is that MNM have got control of Garage and they've got Breach open. That makes the life a lot more difficult for Heroic here. That could have been a headshot there as Nello goes in for the plant. This should be possible to hold down because you've got Solotov on the cross. Nobody can get in there to challenge onto this plant, and it will indeed be successful. And that just shows us, Des, how powerful Garage Catwalk is, allowing that to happen. 3 versus 2 as Nello gets cut down. It all comes down to Solotov on the rappel. Can he hold them off? One gets across him. He had to make that shot. He can't see the man, I don't think, as he might go in for the disable. Way. We'll see.
Oh, no!
Not on the pistol! Not like this, Heroic! Solotov, take a bow. 1v3. Stops the run out. Flips to the pistol. That's the play of the day.
And that is why sometimes you'll see the MNM Twitter account renamed from Molotov and Marshmallows to Solotov and Marshmallows. What a play! Big a big close out there in a 3 versus 1. Benji with the run out. They are 2 playing through the breach, but they just can't find him. Back and forth with a pistol, gets the closeout around that Heroic will be looking at and saying, man, we should have won that. We were in a massive advantageous situation, a 3 versus 1, but some wonderful shots coming out of Solotov to ensure the Marshmallows get round number 3.
Absolutely unreal end to that. You can see that it's that one for me. It's as he swings across. He's got... The thing is, Heroic just sort of got caught in the headlights a little bit there. As that first kill went and it became 1v2, he swings and it's just a reaction shot, but then you can see the last man just like, I don't know where to go. I've not got an angle. It's such a difficult place to challenge onto that rappel as well. And Solotov taking full advantage of that. So well played, MNM. They get themselves into the lead 2-1 now, with Heroic heading back down to the basement.
I remember way back in the day of old, before this team became MNM, I think the old roster was called Crazy. And I remember when they used to come to this map, they would pick attack first. At the time, it was like, they're the only team picking attack. Why is that? And the reasoning often given was they're confident they can get 3 rounds on the attack. Back when Clubhouse was hard to get 3 rounds on the attack. Grizzly starting things off onto last round's hero. It swings and roundabouts, Tim. But again, they would go on the attack inside because they were confident they could get at least 3 rounds, and it would make the other side feel under pressure, like, oh God, we've got to get 3 attacking rounds here. That's quite a stretch. And they kind of play that mental game against the opposition. Maybe that's starting to wear in here because they are 2 and 1 after just 3 rounds. But Heroic making a very smart call. You get the entry. Oh, the hot drop coming in as well. Usus and Tyrant dropping down through blue, but they've been slaughtered by the Sloth. Mira doing all the work they need. Neo going to run into the end of a shotgun here. No way. No way. Uno should have had that one for free. Going to keep on pushing his way forward. There's still one more waiting for him around the corner and a Banshee to impede his progress.
The likelihood here is that Sloth has just won the round for Heroic. Somehow able to just duck and dodge either side of that wall and pick up 2 kills. It looked, for all my money, like he was going to be dead down there, bang to rights, but no. Managed to fight his way out of it. It's a 2 versus 4 now. Nello pushes. He's going to get cut down in blue. Gorgona finding that one. Neo left all alone inside a dirt tunnel. They know exactly where the Hibana is. It doesn't matter how much time is on the clock. It's unlikely that Neo's going to get anything going from here. Flashbangs go out. He's got the option to potentially leave Dirt Tunnel, try and attack from somewhere else, but in a 1v4 with such low health, it just really doesn't seem like there's too much of a point. He might as well just see if he can find himself a lucky little shot through here, which he's going to keep plugging away. More flashbangs going out, but there's the final shots from Sloth. 3k on the round, and I tell you what, Heroic, they've got some thanks to say to Sloth after that one, because he really did prevent a catastrophe.
I think even if Sloth had died, they still had a player playing behind box 1 as well that was just moving their way down. So there would have been 2 kills coming out for Heroic there regardless. But for Sloth to pull out a play like that when he was the target of those gunfights is a little bit crazy. However, 2-2, that's the scoreline you want to see in this rematch from what we saw of the SI quals. And you know what I love seeing even more, Tim? It's a bar and stage setup here in round 5. Teams have approached this in so many different ways. I think back to when Kavana, obviously now known as Heroic because all the players have moved over, -1. They used to play a Thunderbird and they'd play it upstairs with Sloth being the one playing Thunderbird. He'd sit in a rotate between gym and between bedroom and just keep on dancing back and forth whilst hovering over those Thunderbird salvation stations, as we call them. Here it's a similar thing. There is not going to be that on side. It is a mirror, no doubt hold out with the top upstairs. Normally you'll get one looking through construction down here to stop any pushes coming through. And the second one, if you want to stick it towards like bedroom, out towards the jacuzzi breach, you can, or you can stick it down towards site if so desired. But very commonly it'll be used upstairs as well to stop against a jacuzzi push, so you'll likely see that coming through into bathroom in just a moment.
Given the setup, I think we're likely to see attention from the east side again from MNM. Get that breach open and start to push in. Tyrant immediately looking towards the top of blue stairs would suggest that could be the case. Nitro comes out, not going to have any joy there. Benji going fishing, but coming up empty-handed as Tyrant steps himself away and is not going to be caught short with the explosive. Solotov looking to apply a little bit of pressure towards what we've learned is a very important part of this defence sometimes. Angles can be held from the bottom of main stairs all the way over to the plant spot on stage, and it has been the undoing of many attacks on this site, trying to get in through stage and get the plant down there from stock wall. They've been cut down from main stairs, so for the time being, Solotov, he's going to play on the chains and he's going to try and hold them at bay.
The right idea, yeah, because normally a player will hang inside kind of the hallway and use all these soft holes in the wall, the Sightlines have been opened up to challenge inside of the main area to stop them just pushing in for free, and it is a very big power position, so he's going to want to make sure that stays empty throughout the round. The rest of the team going to work on the most common setup, it looks like, normally out towards the east. You get control of main entrance, you get control of the stock wall, you try and force back a member or two, maybe get control of upstairs or downstairs as well to stop them threatening you through holes they've opened up, and go forwards from there. And this is where Solotov is the key to this round, right? They are restricted on what angles they can play as long as he is sat here. Ben just got a great angle still through to the stage wall, mind you, but it doesn't give him the full range of motion to be able to step out and challenge, so they need to get rid of Solotov first.
That's it, he's got to catch the man on his way in through the breach. If he makes it around the corner to where the speakers are, there's no challenge coming in then without crossing paths with Solotov, so it's going to have to be one of those split-second reactions, but the important thing is Gorgona still upstairs in construction, can still challenge from that hatch. MNM have to force them out of logistics, out of construction. They can't have Uno and Gorgona sat here like this, because they'll just get cut down when they go for that plant, because they've got full vertical presence above it. Tyrant is looking to put a bit of pressure on from the rooftop for the time being, but he could hold an angle that would cut off the pressure from Gorgona potentially going towards that hatch.
Or just drop a nade in as well, could be mega, but here we come. Tell you what, that's the problem, right? You haven't got the control of the hatch fully, and they'll be asking questions there like, guys, I thought we had this, like, what's going on? And sure enough, the nade in hand should be able to bounce off the wooden planks and find themselves an absolute freebie. Goodbye, Gorgona, no longer able to hold that angle. The big question is now, do they try and go for the same thing again? Does someone take Gorgona's place? What's going to be that game plan for MNM?
I think the call has definitely come in there to say,
Ooh,
you know,
Solotov.
we've got it held down from roof, but it just didn't work out. Solotov finding a nice one onto Grizzly, and just reclaiming that diffuser as well. He was, for a second there, going to put it down on the ground. Another kill comes in from Users, which I think will be all the encouragement that Solotov needs to stick this plant. That's exactly what's going to happen. Uno can make nothing happen from there. Sloth almost getting himself cut down. Will be finished off by Tyrant. 3v1, diffuser planted, and it's not looking good for Uno right now. He's on a rough game so far. 0-4, hasn't managed to pick himself up a kill, and will not do here as Neo finds that kill. And it's going to be MNM taking round number 5. 3-2 and back in the lead.
They had all the right ideas there as well. I think if they knew there was a man in construction in the first place, Gorgona, he would have just been naded out by Tyrant a long time back, and I thought a couple of times, man, it's so unfortunate he doesn't know there's a player laid down there, or that is a freebie nade waiting to come through, because there's just no way Heroic commit to putting ADSs stacked around construction when it can be fought over relatively easily. Either way, good round coming out for MNM. Once again, they are at that 3-round kind of turning point that the MNM of old would be happy to get to. If they can make this 4, Heroic will start to sweat.
They certainly will. We saw Jim back in the second round, and it was an MNM victory. So right now, Heroic, they are on a tough spot, but as we say, attack, we do tend to see this team of Heroic quite happy to be there and attacking on Clubhouse. So they're going to need to really show us that that is the case in the second half. If they can get this locked down and level things up 3-3, I get a feeling that they won't be too unhappy with that. Sloth looks like he's going to be holding on to the top of red stairs. Plenty of ADSs going down to protect him in that position. Bit of barbed wire on the stairs. Rotation opened up. All pretty standard.
Nothing really changing for the side of MNM massively. Only thing you're looking at is that Flores being dropped away. Clearly far more use for them on the bar stage setup, with Usus bringing that along. Now playing back over instead towards playing on the ace, which has been their other kind of go-to. It's interesting how the flex around roles throughout the map as well, where you've had Nello, Usus, Neo playing on the hard breach. You know, really the only two that have been committed to their roles has been like Solotov playing on the sledge. And that is normally Usus' go-to operator. So maybe a couple of changes here in terms of roles starting to take shape for MNM as well, but it could also just be a map-based thing too.
Solotov just picking up a little peek of the feet of Gorgona there, but he's going to step away behind his shield. I don't think he'll expose those again, no matter how long Solotov looks for. Wall is opened, and that will be the pressure starting to mount onto red stairs and Cash. MNM need to start pushing forward and taking some actual map control, but this is a good start. Less than a minute in, and Gorgona just being pushed down to the bottom of red stairs there, because there is pressure mounting from Garage. There comes the quick peek. That's going to tell Tyrant all he needs to know about Gorgona's location, but there was a second there to back him up. Not going to be possible to find any shots onto Gorgona yet. He's gone back to the top of red stairs. MNM not doing too badly, but need to continue this forward push. That's just a pre-fire.
That is, yeah, that is just a pre-fire and the expectation that someone's going to step up. That's what you get from I don't want to say years, but yeah, years and years of playing. Start to build those expectations. Gorgona going nuclear out on the roam. They've killed 4 members of MNM here out towards the extended Holton. This ain't even the site, don't forget. Could have been a flawless round, but Usus finds one back before Benja gets the shutdown. A very solid round from Heroic to end the half 3-3.
What a competition that we are seeing. What a contest this is between these two. Leveling up 3-3 at the half. Spoils are shared, no advantage to be found just yet, but we switch sides. Heroic are going to move on to the attack, and we'll see what MNM can give us on the defence. A site like Barron Stage could be pivotal for MNM here. It was something Heroic weren't able to lock down. It could be a little bit of a curveball from MNM to throw in if they can successfully defend it. For the time being, they're going to go to Church and Arsenal. I would expect to see them on those sort of more popular primary sites to begin with, but if this is close and it's 4-3, 4-4, 5-4, then it could just be that possibility of a little pocket strat that gets them over the line.
You know me, Tim. I see a castle, I get excited. I'm always curious to see what the setup coming in is. They've got one on the main stairs, which suggests someone wants to play upstairs. They want to be able to play around this bar area with the one they put on the double doorway here. Of course, new, the one before used to have to get placed on towards the front door, double door. They're really trying to lock basically everything down here and force Heroic into having to fight for control of these areas of the map. It's like not massively dissimilar to what you'd see coming out of SSG in their SSG S-style roam, but is different enough that it's a little bit more contained, that they've extended in towards Strip. Taking some ideas out of TSM strap up there when you think about it. Kind of a blend of the SSG roam and the TSM hold that we often see on this site.
It is, and you know, it's not unusual to see those sorts of adaptations.
What's this pick in the bottom left, Tim?
We've got a fuse.
Not every day you see that.
Uno known for his fuse players, of course.
Yeah, world famous for them.
We've seen them before. We have seen them at SI before.
I wouldn't quite go as far as saying world famous.
No, that was a bit tongue-in-cheek.
It was.
I wouldn't say that he's
the reason
he's
why
known
Fresh is
for
shouting at us going, oh, yeah, he is because I made that strat.
He likes to claim a lot of ownership.
That was their cafe assault, if I recall rightly, and trying to blow things up around red. And look at him beaming like a child. He's so happy with himself.
Beaming like a child is going to be Sloth as he gets himself in, finds a kill onto Nello, and that is a big entry for Heroic there. 5 versus 4, and this is the message they need to send. Now they've got themselves onto the attack. They need to show that they can come in strong here, and they're going to get themselves an advantage against an MNM side that have been very scrappy so far, able to keep themselves in the fight.
I'd die to protect Fresh's smile.
Would you?
He looks so happy, honestly. Just beaming to himself. I was like, oh, it's so cute. He's just got like a moment of pride now, the tears rolling down his cheeks as you see one of those fuse charges go off. Here, aiming to force players out who are sat inside of Arsenal, out towards deep Arsenal, back Arsenal, far out towards the west side, and get them instead moving out towards the blue side of things. So, for MNM, still holding up on the top floor here, clearly not too concerned about what's going on the site just yet, but our concern with these kind of strats, Tim, always is, what if they just rush at the site?
What if they just rush at the site? For the time being, Heroic are not choosing to do that. Tyrant going to find himself getting droned out. Time to move. He'll drop the hatch, get himself down into Strip, and try to make life difficult. Of course, they lost the man at the beginning. Nello lost his life to Sloth, but by replacing him in here, it causes a bit of a problem for Heroic. They can't ignore this flank. As you said, with TSM, we saw exactly why not. Gorgona, he's going to start opening up some nasty verticals there. 2 floors up makes it very difficult for the defenders to challenge those on the reverse angles. He's got to get prone, get all the way down there to minimise that distance for the skeleton key to have its most effect. But Usus, he's going to have an effect on Benja there as he manages to find a kill. 4 versus 4, 35 seconds left to go.
Not quite sure what Benja was doing so close as well. The rest of the team are still getting prepped for this, and you're kind of going on a little bit solo here before everyone else is ready. It's that kind of dysfunction that can really start stinging a team, and here we come. Tyrant, the man that they managed to drone out of gym but had no idea where he went, strikes big. Tyrant with one to Sloth, now looking for a second as well, as it's Gorgona trying to push his way forward. A nade comes in, uses into a second, a 3 versus 2, but there's only 15 seconds on the clock.
And effectively, Gorgona there, by holding the stairs, leaves Uno all alone on site, but it doesn't matter because Uno finds the kills. Gorgona's able to drop down, back him up from the bottom of main stairs while still keeping the Malusi out of the game. Well played from Gorgona and Uno in what could have been a very difficult 2 versus 3 there, because when it was 3 versus 3, Gorgona was able to just hold the Malusi inside a Strip. Just, yep, you two focus on site. I'm just going to keep this guy off our flank. That's fine. We can keep him, freeze him out of the game. But as soon as that kill goes down on site, it's then 2v3, and you've got Uno all alone versus 2 players on site, so Gorgona has to go and support him and ignore the potential flank from the Roma. The fact that they managed that situation as well as they did is real credit to them. Good round for Heroic, 4 versus 3 on the scoreboard, and they take themselves the lead.
Gorgona's going to be ecstatic, by the way. For those who don't remember, like way back in Challenger League, Gorgona was a die-hard Buck main. Absolutely loved playing it when no one else was. And I remember asking him, why are you so spawn on this operator? And he said, one thing people don't always respect about him is just how much he can do with like lateral openings of soft walls. It's not just about playing vertical like we saw in the last round, but it's you blow a wall open. It's like, hey, surprise, here's Buck about to blow your head off. It can be a really aggressive and surprising operator at times, and he knows all these sweaty vertical angles that he can play like you just saw in the last round as well. He really, really deeply understands this operator, and I guarantee you again, he's really happy that he's getting to play it in this lineup, because last stage it was Benja, I believe, who stole it away from him and was playing things like the sledge on bank, taking away that Buck opportunity from Gorgona.
Gorgona sending the drones in. Heroic just starting to mount another attack onto the bottom floor. MNM choosing to defend the same location again, obviously feeling that they can get a little bit more value out of this. Plus, I mean, they were 2 versus 3. You're going to look to win more of those than you lose. It did slip away from them, but I'm sure it's left them with a little bit of confidence that they can change things up a little bit, adapt and lock this down.
Got the fuse again, by the way. So identifying that once again they're on the downstairs, moving over towards that in the attacker repick. Probably because in part you have it as a second hard breacher because you have the 2 hard breach charges, so very good for hatches. Outside of that, it's just very good for forcing defenders to move away. And maybe that's somewhat what they're looking for. Last time around, they used the gadget inside a kitchen to force players out of Arsenal, then Gorgona swept over and opened everything up. Just helps you maneuver the defenders where you want to put them. It's like trying to herd sheep, just pushing them away from certain locations so you can then control that part of the map.
Gorgona moving down from Logistics now to continue his destruction of the ceiling above the defenders. He's going to start opening up into the corridor at the bottom of main stairs. He's already done some work to open up the floor around the kitchen hatch and just expose the rear side of Armory. Potentially going to go out of that main stairs window and move himself on. But the fuse charges start to rain in from Uno, just making sure there's nobody underneath that hatch. Basically, he's not looking for kills there. What he's looking for is to just move anybody away that might have an impact nade, that might have any sort of explosives that could deal with that breach in charge. So it just guarantees the hatch being open.
They had 2 of those, but you saw Tyrant forced to run away, and one of the fuse charges also getting eaten up there by one of the magnets. Tyrant being eaten up by Benja. A second one falls as well. As explosives rain all around them, Heroic are finding the kills that they need. It's a 5 versus 3 with about 60 seconds still to play. This is looking very, very good for the side to take the second round in a row on this site. But in comes the drop. It's Benja finding himself a double. Traded out by Yuzu's plant coming in from Uno, who must have dropped himself in through the hatch, and now Solitos forced his way out of dirt and trying to fight through. Yuzu's got to find himself a massive clutch to win the round, being sprayed out by Uno, who was on the default plant spot, and they get themselves the second win in a row on this downstairs site, Tim. I think it's time for MNM to try a different site.
Absolutely, it's not looking good for MNM right now. As soon as Heroic have got themselves on the attack, they are starting to really charge away with this one. No surprises whatsoever to see MNM bringing in that tactical timeout at this point, because things are starting to slip away. Still smiles across the team, so, I'm sure not too much panic yet. They're going to feel like they can turn this over. They've only tried the one site so far, but what I would say is, if anything, that got easier for Heroic. First time, it was a 2 versus 3 that they managed to win. This time, they were on top of the man count the whole time. They got the diffuser down in a controlled manner where they wanted to. It wasn't just a rush of, we've got an opportunity, stick it down. That was exactly as they planned. And so for me, you got to move on here, but Heroic looking great on the attack.
To be honest with you, I think the reason why you saw a number of smiles as well is that for MNM, there's probably not tons of pressure in this.
Yeah.
Like, they've just qualified to EUL. Like, for a lot of teams that get in here, the goal is survive. Like, for them to be getting to SI, I remember speaking to Steph or Amerta, their coach, and he was saying, look, just being at SI is a massive bonus. Like, we didn't expect to be here. Win or lose, it's a great experience. And I think knowing the kind of temperament of Cal, their owner, he'll probably be in a similar spot of, look, the goal here, boys, is get in, let's finish mid-table. Let's not finish dead last. That's not the start that we want. But if we get top 4 again, it's a huge bonus for us. So this is going to be a massive learning experience. It's your first game playing in EUL as well, of playing at this level of competition. Sure, the opponent is familiar, but it's a very different stage to before.
Well, this is, it comes back to the old phrase, doesn't it? Win or learn.
Yeah.
You know, there is no lose here. It's just about, like you say, adapting and developing those strats, getting used
So
to...
that's the teams that get relegated out of EUL, Tim. Oh, well, I guess you're learning at least while you're on your way out.
I mean, they are learning, but...
Oh, no, what the exit door looks like now.
Maybe not the lessons that they'd choose to take with them.
No. Beautiful. Let's go.
Round number 9. We're going to be heading to gym and bedroom. MNM have indeed decided to change things up here, but they're not going to be going for CCTV cash, which has dropped out of popularity over the last 6 to 12 months or so, as it's just become so much easier and quicker to open that East breach than we maybe saw previously. So teams tend to head over to the west side of the top floor instead, and that's exactly what MNM are going to do. What they need to do for me, Des, is slow down the pace of this heroic team. Pace and confidence is something that this team has in bucketfuls at the minute. They're coming in, they're winning entry fights, they're getting into a 5v3, they've got plenty of time on the clock to set themselves up, and that's something that MNM need to slow down here, and it's no surprise to see a Frost brought along.
No, this one really valuable because there are lots of normally rotations to get opened up at kind of like chest height for you to vault over. There are windows to jump into, for example, the cheeky little spots on the other side of the bed that you can end up running into if you're not careful. Just lots of good places to put them. And I think Tyrant's aware of the man who was just on the rappel. It is Benja, sort of lurking and just waiting to see if he can find the man here. No doubt going to step out in front of this window and give Benja an opportunity to fight back, but no one to be found just yet.
Just going to apply those air jabs and just prevent any potential runouts from the windows. Just going to offer a little bit of safety as they move over towards the jacuzzi breach. Uno is going to secure that. I'm not sure that was part of the plan as the flash goes in, but Benja is rushing into sight here, Des. There could be kills for him. The first is going to go to MNM, but he moves round, gets one inside of the showers as Sloth gets one as well. 4v3, and all of a sudden Heroic are basically in charge of the site here. They can prevent any rotation back in, and that's what happens.
Sloth.
A double nade kill comes in from Sloth, maximising that utility. 3 versus 1. Neo's got it all to do. He's flash full white. He's going to have to dip away from the fight. He looks to move back in now. Does he go logistics? Does he go bedroom door? I dare say both will be covered off. We'll find out as he tries to move through. Takes pot shots at the planter. Does move Benja away from it. He relocates and he's going to get it down behind the reinforcement, but not before Sloth finds that kill. And that's going to be Heroic taking themselves onto map point, and the tack timeout doing nothing for MNM.
Looking really good on the attack inside here, Heroic, but we're seeing what a lot of teams struggle with. Heroic are really pulling off. When all looks kind of lost and you're like, okay, then we're just kind of stalling out a bit here, boys. Right, pause for a second. 3, 2, 1, go. They're making things happen. That breach opened. You could not ask for a better indication to ring out across the map to the team that now is go time. Bursting up main stairs, bursting in through the breach, just going at pace and not giving MNM time to react to the sudden opening of that wall. That is why they held the exothermic on the wall and just said, right, that is our go sign. When it opens, boys, it's time to make a move. And my God, did they move at pace. 6-3 to Heroic. MNM not having the dream start they were looking for, but Heroic, they started last year and finished in 3rd place in Stage 1. Things already looking fantastic for them in Game 1.
Baron staged as if you remember at the beginning of the defensive phase, I did suggest this could be a little bit of a secret tool that could be at the disposal of MNM. It might just be an opportunity. It's one of those real 50-50 sites for me. Attackers have got more used to it now, but it still can be very difficult to take complete control of in order to get that diffuser down. It was a little bit scrappy when MNM did it. They managed to get the kill onto Gorgona, but still had to send Solotov deep to get that diffuser planted. It could just be a turning moment for MNM if they can get this one on the board. It's a little bit of a pocket one. You just throw it out there, see what you get, and then maybe they can go into those more primary sites with a bit of confidence behind them. Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, I would not bank on Heroic losing this, to be honest.
I think Heroic are one of the teams that have made the most use of attacker repick as well. Not strictly bringing in crazy strats or anything, but in most rounds, you've seen them changing out like 1 or 2 operators, like at least 1, usually 2. Things like the Fuse being brought along here. They've changed in the Decabi, for example. We had the Nomad last time round. They just have small tweaks that are coming into the lineup based on the site they're on. So it's not like they're completely changing how they're playing the game, but it is adding a new flavor, a new element to each round, a new problem for MNM to have to consider.
Uno just looking for a little peek into kitchen there. Not gonna a cheeky PK. He's not gonna find
Wants
any.
to see what's cooking.
Not gonna find anybody over.
You love that cheeky peeky thing.
That's absolutely staying there, Des. That is stuck now. There's absolutely no chance that's going anywhere. Gorgona has opened up logistics. Basically, everything Heroic are doing at the minute is looking to put pressure on this top floor. We've got Sloth moving in, looking to be able to get into construction. Logistics hatch has been opened up. They're looking to force them back, and this is something that MNM didn't really do. They just tried to hold the top floor externally, if you will, whereas Heroic, they're looking to make sure that it's secure, especially inside of construction. Nade goes out, Neo drops deep. Heroic are looking pretty good here. They've got the stage wall open. Access has been gained through stock. They've got control of construction. They are in a position very nearly to think about getting that diffuser down.
Sees the man as he steps across as well, but doesn't want to retake that firefight. Has an idea of where the man is, and I think they all do at this point, but that clock is running down, and it's Sloth to find the opener to bring down Neo, and now storms his way inside of sight. If he found the second, it would have been lights out, most likely for MNM, but Solotov fights back and gets one for himself. Shoots his own alibi, because why the hell not in this case? 4 versus 4, one more out on the window. I think that's what Rainy was aiming for. I thought he just saw the body and thought, quick, shoot it. Was hoping to find a man, but none to be found. Gorgona now in the top of main as well, and waiting for one more to push up main stairs for support.
Solotov's pinned in here. This is a real problem for him. He could well find himself getting cut down. This is, I'm wondering at the minute, it felt like he was pinned in, but maybe not. Tyrant manages to get one. Gorgona traded immediately, so the answer is no, they did not know about Solotov, and he now has free reign of the top floor. Does he know Benji? He's still looking for him, but cut down as he moves around the corner. 3v1. MNM, as I suggested, Des have brought out bar and stage. It's their little pocket strat. It's the tool of destruction at the minute that is going to keep them in this game, as it's now 1 versus 3, all up to Uno. He's got the experience, we know that, but has he got the skills? Has he got the shots? Can he fire? He gets 1. Can he get 3? He has to find 2 more. Diffuser's going to have to go down. MNM have played it perfectly and waited for that clock to tick down. Very nearly does it. There's an opportunity for him there, but MNM's positioning didn't really give Uno too much of a chance of doing that. They were on either side of him. He gets 1. He exposes himself to the other. So no fear for MNM there. 2v1 played nicely. Challenge came in at the same time. That's all they really needed. That is going to push us on to round number 11. And MNM keep fighting.
The coaching staff would have had their pants down if they'd lost that round. If Uno had flicked across onto Paul and killed that last man in the half second he had, they'd have been saying, boys, just wait for it to hit 0. Wait till he cannot come off the diffuser, and that's how we win that round. It was very close. They do get the kill. They've still got 2 rounds to go. And the problem is, Tim, they can't go back to bar and stage. That is the site where they have found the most success. They have not succeeded down here in the 2 times they've tried it. They have not won in gym and bedroom, but they're going to give it another bash down in the basement. Historical success rate, not really going to say this is a good idea. Surely, I was going to say Uno moves over to playing on the fuse again, but here it might be the Monty coming out, Tim.
I'd have honestly considered, if I was MNM, maybe going for CCTV and cash. Haven't played it yet, haven't lost it yet. You've just won bar and stage. It's a reasonably defensible site. It's not terrible. And, you know, just, again, keep it fresh. Don't, like you say, go somewhere where you've lost twice and you've got that little bit of a mental battle potentially as well. But, as I said before they went into bar stage, it could be a good site for them, and maybe it gives them a bit of confidence to then lock out those primary sites as well. An entry kill would be massive now. If they can pick themselves up a man advantage, fall back to site and just burn a bit of time, it's going to be perfect for MNM.
Let's see how things step up from here. I mean, you're looking down the normal trifecta on the side of MNM, the 3 that are normally causing the trouble. Doing the tango, it's Tyrant, Yuzus, and Solotov. Tyrant been quite quiet this game so far. Only sat on the 5 kills, whereas Yuzus and Solotov been getting involved across a number of rounds. And Yuzus is one of those that I look at. You think about this game, we've had 2 3Ks coming out of Solotov. Yuzus, you haven't really seen his name up in lights all that much, but he's one of those players that quietly goes about their business in every round, finding the odd 2K here, the odd kill here, where it's maybe really helpful to the team. He just does the job that needs to be done with him without too much flash behind it, to be honest.
As you say, the job has certainly been done today. There's no question about it, but there is yet a job to be finished, and that is this matchup. MNM looking to continue keeping themselves in it. First minute has gone, and Heroic pretty confident now that they've got the mid-floor control and they can start pushing on towards site, opening up hatches, taking away utility. That's going to be the next play for them. Uno on the Monty, currently rotating around, going to head into kitchen. He's been brought along for hatches and then for general nuisance making, I would imagine, as he'll probably push himself down the dirt tunnel. Stand there at the door, a little bit foreboding, and just compile that information back into his team.
Look menacing. Just remind them that you're here. It's like if you're sitting next to your bed at night just with a shield in hand, just like, I'm watching you. Makes you uncomfortable, right?
I mean, I can imagine that it might.
I mean, I do that to you every night because we've got the doors between our hotel rooms. I
We
was
do,
standing there and
yeah.
watch you just don't know about it.
That's it. All those many people that have been in hotel rooms over the years and thought, why did they put a door? Why did they put these interconnecting doors? Who uses them?
Just us.
Des and I use them.
You caught me looking at Fabian's pictures.
Not for the first time.
Nope, certainly not the last. Uno trying to work his way down through dirt here, being smoked out, held back, held at bay. But what a shot coming out from Solotov up through the hatch on the reverse angle. Going to bring down Grizzly, and now knows that Diffuser might be down up there as well. Diffuser recover. Can he find the next man as well? It's the pots and the pans, Tim! It's the pots and the pans! A 2K for Solotov. Gets Gorgona as well. It's a 5 versus 3.
I tell you what, if you get that reference, you've been around for a little while, and bless you. Benja, he's dumping the nades in, goes in himself. Can he be explosive? Yes, he can. Finds himself 2. Exactly what Heroic needed to get them back into this. Sloth finds users. It's all falling apart for MNM. Des. Sloth gets 2. Benja gets 2. They're trying to put the diffuser down. It's all up to Tyrant to keep them in this. 15 seconds left to go. Benja, he's going to stick the pants here. Surely he can't get in. And there's the kill from Sloth. It's a 3K for him in the round, and Heroic are able to close this one out 7-4. A valiant effort from NM to get themselves back into this, but they just fell short at the end.
Just not doing well on Church and Arsenal. Haven't been praying lately, Tim, so it's not a sight that goes their way. Losing it 3 times there in the second half. The only sight going their way was Bar and Stage, but that's been a fantastic opening game for Heroic. Really showing some pace, and like I said on the attacks, very well coordinated, very well timed, and Ben just dropped there at the end. You love to see it.
You do love to see it. It's about as coordinated as me with this background.
What do you mean?
When it has winner across. Yeah, look, there you go.
You're saying you're a winner because it's coordinated?
No, I'm not saying I'm a winner. I'm saying the colours.
You're a winner to me, Tim.
Thank you, Des.
Every day of the week. Let's go to a break. When we come back, analysts will break this one down for you.